Hi everyone, welcome back to Dr. Pai's Astrology channel. Today we have Kṣaṇāti back with us, continuing our series of Dharma of Nakshatras. Everybody's loving this series. I'm also learning a lot and super excited. So today we're going to be continuing with the sign of Gemini and all the nakshatras that fall in Gemini. Hi Kṣaṇāti, welcome.
Namaste, Navjeet. I'm so excited and happy to be here with you today to continue what seems to be a series which is being embraced by the community. I think a lot of people are getting some insight into the therapeutic application of their various nakshatras to better understand their dharma and their path in life. And so this has been a great service for me, and thank you for sharing this space with me.
Thank you so much, Kṣaṇāti, for your time and profound information that you bring. And I'm always excited to work with you. So thank you.
My pleasure. So without further ado, we're going to be covering three nakshatras today. We're going to be covering Punarvasu nakshatra, Pushya nakshatra, and Ashlesha nakshatra. So we'll be finishing up Gemini and also going within the whole of the Cancer Rashi as well. So I will start with the chant to our guru, Mata Amritananda Mayima, always asking her to come in and serve our time together.
Yeah.
Om Tvameva Matacha Pitta Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Cha Saka Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravanam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amriteshwaryai Namah Tvameva Sarvam Amriteshwaryai Namah Tvameva Sarvam Mata Amritananda Mayima Maharani Ki Jai. Hari Om Namah Shivaya. Namaste to the beloved Jyotish community. So I'm very excited to be diving into a interesting nakshatra, Punarvasu nakshatra, which falls from the 20th degree of Gemini to 3.2 degrees of Cancer. So this is a cusp nakshatra when it falls in one Rashi and then starts in another Rashi. And these nakshatras can sometimes be a little more difficult to understand because they have many different energies because it's affected by a dual Rashi experience. But when we get more into nakshatra aspect of Jyotish, we can kind of look past the Rashi. And that's why I love the nakshatra system, which Jyotish upholds, because it allows us to see even more deeper things than the 12 Rashi will show us. So Punarvasu nakshatra is very, very powerful influence on Dharma because it's influenced by the Dharmic planet of Jupiter. And whenever we have a nakshatra which is influenced by Jupiter, it has something that is pushing us to this higher aspect of our evolution so that we may recognize the guru within ourselves and the guru and our teachers, which might be outside of us. There's also a ruling devata of Aditi, the goddess of nature. And so the goddess of nature, Aditi, has a really profound effect on the dharma of people that have a Punarvasu position. So when we talk about this aspect of nature and creation, which is influenced by Aditi, if you have a Punarvasu position, what does that kind of mean for you? Well, it means that you have a very specific dharma to have a close relationship with all things which relate to the nature. And there are three kingdoms that we traditionally understand in terms of our relationship with nature. We have the human kingdom, which in my opinion is the least significant. And we have the animal kingdom and the plant kingdom. And the Punarvasu energy is to really be humble and be observant that all three of these kingdoms, human, plants, and animals, are equal. Mm-hmm. Because one thing that human beings struggle with, especially in modern world, they think that because we have this manas, this ability to concentrate, that somehow that we are superior. right? Just
Mm.
because we can think that actually that creates some supremeness of us. I mean, even the Western religions, they say that, God gave humans dominion over animals and plants. And I think this is the wrong message because really we can observe so much about how we should actually live from plants and animals. And I think that's what this Dharma of this nakshatra is really about. So, how does a tree grow? How do plants grow? How do dogs act and cats act? And how do deers act? Like we can observe this quiet simplicity of nature in our extremely complicated and chaotic lives as human beings. And the real dharma of the Punarvasu position, this also means the possession of wisdom and the seeking of wisdom. And that seeking of wisdom is not in terms of academics, because college, graduate school, studying something academically, that's not the type of wisdom. That's knowledge. That's not wisdom. True wisdom comes from the observation of beings which are greater than us. The influence of the Jupiter nakshatra on this is understanding, okay, well, we might think our guru is Mata Amritanandamaima or Neem Karoli Baba or, Sadhguru or, Ravi Shankar, like whatever it is, like all the gurus out there, like they teach us so much wisdom and we learn it through our brains. But if you notice what a lot of these gurus, who do the gurus actually learn from? Animals. Right? Like our guru Mata Amritanandi Maima, she has such a close relationship with all animals. They flock to her. Because we all should know that the true guru is, of course, within us, and the outer guru shows us that, but our true guru is in the observation of all of creation. And Aditi's influence on this nakshatra can show us this. So the real evolution of this position is to actually be tranquil. And we know that Jupiter is actually exalted on the Cancer side of this nakshatra. So what is that about? It's actually about being calm. It's actually about being tranquil. It's actually about being present in this actual moment. And how do we learn to be present in this actual moment? We learn that a tree isn't thinking about the future. Our pets aren't thinking about the future. They are present in this moment and they are consumed by love. They are consumed by the devotional bhakti nature with which they were essentially created with. And I think Aditi truly represents this energy. So I think, on the challenging side of the Punarvasu position, we only look to human beings to learn from. We only look to books to learn from. Yes, in a Punarvasu position, there is a dharma for like education in the traditional sense. And usually these people are well educated. But the true evolutionary dharmic aspect of this nakshatra comes from the quiet observation of the animal and plant kingdom. And how can we utilize the teachings of all of the aspects of creation in order to understand how to live a quality life? Why is Jupiter positioned in this nakshatra in an ucha, in an exaltation position? Because when we have that energy of tranquility, when we have that energy of being present in the moment, that's what gives our ability to be devotionally loving and our bhakti to grow and have the most amount of power. This is a strong bhakti position in which we're supposed to chant, in which we're supposed to praise, in which we're supposed to be grateful. I mean, if there's one thing that we can say in a Punarvasu position, what is a dharmic and what is it dharmic? A dharma in this position, which is not an evolved position, is a lack of gratitude. Because if you're not grateful for waking up and seeing the sunrise in the morning and being able to breathe and being able to see and being able to hear and being able to smell and being able to use all of these five senses, then you aren't living a quality life. And you aren't really able to love other people properly because you're not in a position of gratitude. The real dharma of this position is to live your life in a consistent place of gratitude. When your gratitude You can meet all your relationships properly. You can meet your teachers. You can meet your family members. You can meet your romantic partner. You can meet strangers. You can treat the environment well. You can be kind to other animals. So real evolved positions here have to do with being moral, ethical, kind, fair-mannered, and of course being knowledgeable and wisdom, but not in the traditional sense that we understand it here. It's more in a spiritual sense of being connected with all aspects of creation through the goddess Aditi's blessing on this nakshatra.
Wow, that's so beautiful and beautifully explained. Present moment. Yeah.
I have many friends with this position. And I truly, these are the kind of people that I like to ask for advice because they're able to kind of just actually listen properly. They're able to actually be present with you in the moment and think about, oh, not what do I think is best with my brain. When I feel your heart, what do I think is best for you? It's a very empathic position, and we all appreciate our friends which are compassionate and empathic.
Wonderful.
So the next nakshatra which I wanted to discuss is going to be Pushya nakshatra, which falls in the beginning half of the Cancer from 3.2 Cancer to 16.4 Cancer. And the influencing planet on this is Shani, and the ruling devata is Brihaspati, the Lord of Prayers. Now, I just want to clarify here that sometimes that Jupiter is called Brihaspati, but the understanding on Pushya nakshatra is understanding that there is a divine energy, which we don't necessarily want to relate to Jupiter here, but we want to understand this aspect of the divine energy, which when we pray, those prayers are answered. Now, understanding the relationship between Saturn and Brihaspati, the divine energy of prayers, can really get at the heart as to the Dharmic evolution of this position, because why are prayers even answered? A lot of times when we pray, right, we pray selfishly. You know what I mean? Like the human condition is self-obsession. Some people less than others, but we have pain. We have desires. We want money. We want pleasure. We want freedom. We want joy. This is the human condition. And so a lot of time for prayers, this is just a joke, but it's like sometimes we'll pray, oh, can I please have the new Ferrari? Oh, can I please have a raise at my job? Can I please lose weight? Can I please have this girl or boy that I have a crush on like me? And I believe that Brihaspati is less likely to answer those prayers because true prayers are answered by the influence of Shani, which is selflessness, which is service, which is getting outside of our own self-obsession and how can we be in service and help people, especially those which are less fortunate than us. So the real evolution of the Pushya, which I always like to think of a lotus flower, which offers its sweet fragrance to anyone that walks by it when it's blooming. What type of fragrance are we offering other people? And that is how prayers are truly answered. Prayers are not answered because we are asking God, hey, will you do this thing for me? Prayers are answered by the accumulation of good karma. Mm-hmm. And a good karma is accumulated through service. And that is why it is very traditional for a Pushya position to be very giving. I mean, there's a natural giving energy to Pushya natives in which this evolutionary aspect, it is part of their dharma to say, okay, I love this person, what can I offer them? And so actually Pushya people tend to be less selfish. But I'm just saying that the highest vibration of this energy is to be not selfish at all. And of course, that's impossible if you look at modern psychology. But it's saying, okay, well, of course, you volunteer at the homeless shelter because it makes you feel good. But that's more like a side effect of doing the service. You're actually doing it because you want to help other people that are less fortunate to you. And guess what happens? We can embody the Brihaspati energy. Because guess what? Those homeless people, those elderly people, those orphans, and those drug addicts are praying for. They're praying for people to see them as equals. They're praying for people to appreciate them and to love them. And the Pushya native has the potential to offer this service unto others and to really be there and hold space for people. I mean, I kind of think of Pushya natives as like the traditional way that we understand a shaman. Because a shaman is there to hold space for people, to go through transformation, and they are helping them feel safe. And so the Dharma of the Pushya native is to help other people feel safe. Now, there's a lot of challenging lessons with the Pushya position as well, because we can only help other people feel safe, and we can only give back to others when we feel safe and we feel balanced within ourselves. And so this is actually a position on the adharmic side, or on the lower aspect, where they can deal with a lot of issues of codependency. Let me actually not take care of myself because I don't actually want to look at the things that I have to go through. And let me just focus on other people whose problems are worse than mine. Because when I think about other people's problems, they make my problems look like nothing. And this is actually not that dark of an energy, but it's saying, okay, you're actually limited in your capacity to be able to serve others when you're not taking care of yourself. I mean, this is actually a sacrificial position. Saturn, the servant. And we can go into the Shudra, and we don't actually want to be in a Shudra position in any aspect of our life unless we're a Shudra to Deva. It's okay to be a servant to God. That's the only aspect of servant. But as we know, that slavery is actually one of the most horrible things that has ever existed on the planet Earth, and it still exists today. So you have to emancipate yourself from this aspect of personal slavery. And how do we emancipate ourselves from this slavery? We take care of ourselves. You know, like if you've ever been on an airplane and they do the thing, okay, well, if the plane starts to fall apart,
Yeah.
and the breathing thing shoots down from the air, they say, okay, before you take care of, the other people, make sure you put on your own breathing thing.
Yeah. So put your own oxygen mask first
Correct.
before you apply it on others, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is the
Yeah.
perfect analogy for the Dharma of the Pushya person. Because if you can't breathe and you try to go put that oxygen mask on someone else before you can get it to their face, you're going to pass out. And the Pushya people have such a strong Dharma of service to humanity. They're the traditional mother. They are the traditional good sibling, the traditional good parent, the traditional good child, the traditional good friend. But if they're not whole within themselves, balanced within their body, balanced within their mind, then they can actually be self-destructive, and they can lose their identity in other people. So the strong dharmic evolution here is, yes, we want to be able to pray, not out of selfishness, but out of desire for the benefit of others. But actually, what instead of Brihaspati, the deity which presides over this nakshatra, is not necessarily about answering our prayers, although this could be done by the accumulation of good karma, but it's actually that we are answering the prayers of other people who are suffering. What do we have to offer people from a place of, you know what? Yes, I'm okay. And once I'm okay, how can I make someone else feel okay? So it's a balancing act between, okay, self-care and care of others is a strong dharma of this position.
Shanti, I actually very connect with this in like how taking care of others. Because my 10th Lord in D1 goes into Pushya in D9.
Mm-hmm.
Sun. That's also my Amatya Karaka.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of relate with it. Whatever you said. Just to be there and just making feeling of equality, serving, being there, and yes, being careful not to lose yourself so much in it that you're gone. Like your so much focus is on others. Yeah.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say is you want to be able to help people who are suffering without feeling like a slave yourself.
Thank you. That was wonderful.
Of course. And the last nakshatra, which I will discuss today, which is very exciting one, completes the energy in Cancer from 16.4 Cancer to 30 degrees Cancer. And that's Ashlesha nakshatra, which has an influencing planet of Mercury and a presiding deity of Naga, the serpent lord. Now, the dharma of this nakshatra, I always like to joke a little bit about it because, and I apologize for any children that are watching this, but this is the position which their evolution is to smell bullshit. Because with Naga, which is the influencing energy of the serpent, it's not as if the serpent represents dark energy. The serpent can see dark energy. And we all have a shadow self. Everyone has a darker side of their personality profile and a higher, more divine energy. Some people live in their darker energy, some people live in their higher energy, and some people are constantly dancing between both. I think that's the most common. So the real Dharmic evolution of Ashlesha nakshatra is the facing of the shadow. Because we all have character defects. At times, we have been dishonest. At times, we have been manipulative. At times, we have, tried to learn something for material gains or for romantic superiority. We don't always have the best of intentions. And actually, the evolution of the Ashlesha is the purification of our intentions. And the understanding of, okay, sometimes a dharmic energy, like we always like to point, okay, this is a dharma, and this is dharma for each nakshatra. The a dharma of this nakshatra is dishonesty and manipulation. Because they're extremely intelligent. The serpent is wise. And so when you have that essential wisdom of being able to see things how they are and see people for how they are you going to take advantage of them? Or are you going to be honest with yourself, and are you going to be honest with others? And so the true Dharma manifestation of this position is to stand in integrity and stand in honesty. I think that one of the most honest positions in its evolved form is to have a nakshatra planet in Ashlesha. And usually you can tell this because actually you've been lied to. So, I mean, Ashlesha people, they've been taken advantage of. Remember, it's in Cancer where a lot of these emotional maturity lessons are involved. And we have to understand that if Ashlesha, that life is a two-way street. If you're going to be giving kindness and light and positivity to people, and they're walking all over you and treating you like crap, that's not a healthy relationship. And because usually from a karmic perspective, these people have had to go through mistrust, loyalty issues, sometimes trauma, as they become more evolved in this position, they see dishonesty right away. My grandmother used to say, "You're so full of shit, your nose is turning brown." And she always used to joke about this, but it's perfect for an Ashlesha position because you can actually be able to almost, as soon as someone starts talking who's dishonest, you'll be able to notice it right away if you're in an evolved Ashlesha position, because your dharmic evolution in this position is honesty. See, a lot of times we think of Mercury as like the professor, but in Ashlesha position with this influencing, it's more about like being the professor of self-knowledge, understanding that we are imperfect. We can sometimes, not necessarily have the best intentions, but Ashlesha natives, Dharma, are truly the ones with the best intentions. Now, the other thing I like to say about Ashlesha is because of Naga, the serpent influence, they have a very dharmic path towards the mystical. There's many aspects of religion, right? Which is like, okay, a religion has dogma, which means it has a set of rules and principles that you have to follow in order to feel like you're close to this religion. And I think that deep down, if you follow like religious laws, like in Hindu, like the yamas and the niyamas, and you practice these spiritual principles, that's truly an evolved path. But you can never be like, oh, well, because I'm being practicing ahimsa, which is nonviolence, that means that I'm a better person. Well, like, no. You know what I'm saying? It just means that you have more knowledge. And for other people, ignorance is bliss. And you need to accept and love them and let them live in their ignorance, because that is a position that is where they are in their journey. So just because they haven't necessarily learned the same lessons than you doesn't mean that they are in any different position. So the real dharma of this position, as far as religion and spirituality goes, is to be open-minded to perspectives which are different than yours. Like an adharmic position here is like, okay, like I think this and I know I'm right and everyone else is wrong. And it can be kind of like mean. But like an evolved position is this is like, okay, like I think this way, which works for me. And as long as you think this way and that works for you and you're a nice person, who am I to judge? I mean, I really think that's the quote, which I would like to say for the Dharma of Ashlesha is, who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? And regardless of the religion which you may affiliate yourself with, it's an important evolutionary energy with the Ashlesha position to really start to educate yourself and learn about other traditions and religions other than the one that you're born, other than the one that you practice, so you can become as wise like the serpent and you can see everything from many, many different angles. So I really think the Dharma of Ashlesha is self-knowledge and kindness towards others through non-judgment and non-criticism, as well as this kind of mystical evolution, which is kind of pushing us to try to develop a relationship with God, which is going to make us happy and therefore make us a better person. Because again, if our spiritual or knowledge or our qualities in life aren't actually helping us to become a better person, then they really don't serve any purpose at all. So I hope this was a helpful elaboration on these three nakshatras for everyone. And I look forward to discussing in our next time together, Nav, Magha, Purva Falguni, and Uttar Falguni as well.
Thank you so much, Kṣaṇāti. I just love your delivering process, the way you actually explain things. It's so beautiful. And exactly, self-knowledge doesn't mean you're better than others. And we have to be more knowledge we have to be more open and accepting of other people who are ignorant or who don't know, because that's what it is, not get arrogant. You know what I mean? Get more open and more humble and more like understand them better, you know. So that is so cool. I really liked the way you have explained this always. Thank you so much, Kṣaṇāti. And thank you, the community. I hope you guys are enjoying, and leave us a comment below, and then we'll be back with our next session. Thank you.